Don't you worry, the clip's about to begin, but don't forget to subscribe. Or else, don't make me turn this website around.
We will we'll head to the next call. We're going to go talk to Ashley in New Hampshire. Ashley, you know what? I kind of want to start asking before every call. Ashley, how do you plan to vote this election? Maybe that's too. Is that too abrasive a question to ask people?
That's a fine question. I'm planning on voting mostly left, mostly Democrat. I am happy with the work of the governor here in New Hampshire, especially in regards to coronavirus, who is a Republican. So I might vote for him, although I haven't quite decided yet.
I realize what I've done. What I meant by how is, are you going to vote in person or by mail or by drop? And now I realize how sounds like who. It sounds like the same question. Who will you be voting for? But to encourage people to vote, because there are so many options, in person, by mail, or Dropbox. What's your plan?
I am thinking in person at this point. I don't know. Call me a bit too nervous, but I keep hearing about the USPS and Dropboxes and all these things. I'd rather just have it kind of in the bag and in person, get it done.
Just so you know, Ashley, in case no one has brought this to your attention yet, there are many states that have election trackers. So, for example, I used a Dropbox this last Wednesday or Thursday, to drop off my ballot. And then I actually received a text, an email, and an automated phone call today to confirm to me that my ballot has been received. So if you were worried about it, potentially something, check out, see if just ballot tracker New Hampshire on Google. But anyway, Ashley, let me we'll get back to this and respect my guest time here, because I've totally gone off on a tangent. Ashley, what was the question you had?
Well, I'm interested in kind of what you're taught growing up, just generally, because I only recently kind of came out of Christianity. And I'm wondering, and I still feel sometimes when I'm discussing things with family in particular, because they kind of know where I'm at, and there have been a lot of discussions there, I kind of feel as I'm discussing either Christianity or politics, which is kind of the same thing, in terms of conservative, I feel almost kind of drawn in, like, oh yeah, okay, they're starting to make sense. I see where they're going with this, because it feels like it's been ingrained in me from such a young age that when I step back from the conversation, I'm like, okay, I'm kind of I'm back to where I want to be in terms of my headspace. But when I'm kind of in the middle of a conversation, I feel like my brain has been wired from such a young age to think in these ways that it's difficult for me to think otherwise. And I can only imagine that's even more the case for people who are still in that way. So I'm wondering, kind of a question for both of you. It's like, has that changed for you guys over time in terms of breaking out of those mental cycles, or is it still a struggle sometimes?
You want me to go, or you want to go?
Oh, yeah. Seth, I'm pretty much always going to ask you to go first. You are the featured guest tonight.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Well, I might draw a distinction. I was talking to Dale McGowan, who is a humanist activist, about disagreements in religion and disagreements politically. And he had said something, and I think I've come to agree, that actually sometimes a political disagreement is harder to overcome, because where religion is most often, at least in this country, window dressing. You got casual Christians wearing Christian T-shirts, and they own a Bible. They don't know what's in it. They go to church every once in a while, but I mean, they're not well versed in their religion. It's just window dressing. But politics, that's personal. Politics speaks directly to your value system. That, I think, is a much harder conversation. And in that way, I think it's harder to overcome a political divide even than a religious one in many, many cases. I suspect that you are feeling overwhelmed at these moments when they throw all of this stuff at you from your formative years and, the times you were religious, and a kind of muscle memory seems to kick in. I suspect that you may be the kind of person who does not thrive in that one-on-one, on-the-spot, heat-of-the-moment debate scenario. I sense that you may be a more thoughtful person where if they throw something out, you may need to take the time or want to take the time to assess it and digest it and go vet it and see, well, what is this? And how much of this relates to what I was indoctrinated with? And do they have a good point? Do I agree because it's right or because it's rooted in the evidence or not? You may be one of those guys. And there are a lot of, I can be that way, where in the heat of the moment, I have a hard time drawing the water from the well. I need a little more time to think about and digest it. And so you may want to rethink how you're having these exchanges with the people that you care about, allowing you to take that deep breath, get some oxygen, and not feel like you're rushed and you have to find an answer. And if you don't, you get frustrated, then you feel like you failed and it becomes an emotional exercise. Does that ring a bell with you? Is that how it feels?
Yeah, that can certainly be that way, yeah.
Yeah. I think their conversation's certainly worth having. But think of it this way. I used to punish myself for taking so long to come out of Christianity. Now, I, first of all, have come to understand the power of indoctrination. They get you early for a reason. They get you at your formative years when you're developing your opinions about the whole world, your whole shape of reality. They get you early for a reason. Children's ministries and youth ministries exist for a reason, to get you early, because they know once they brand you, in a way, it's kind of there forever. The scars are certainly there forever. I, though, have come to the point when I'm no longer punishing myself for all the time I took to crawl out. And now I'm able to say, you know what? I can speak to that culture firsthand. I was there. I was behind the walls. I've heard the sermons. I've been to the missions trips. I've gone to the summer camps. I've heard the prayers. I know what's going on in the church. And that allows me to be better informed and more knowledgeable when I speak to it in my activism, conversations with believers, etc. I'm not a guy on the outside looking in. I'm a guy who lived on the inside. I can tell you what happened. And I think, think about yourself that way. You've got insider knowledge. So take some time and sort that out. You might be able to use that to help fuel your conversations with people still in the faith. Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense. One verse that I do like in the board, agree with at the very least in the Bible, is Psalm 119:11. Raise up a child in the way he should go, and makes it a lot harder to get out of that.
There's another verse about leaving childish things aside that I like. That's almost beautifully ironic.
There is a replicating effect, right? Many parents, especially those in religion, want you to be an echo of their voice. Be like me, think like me, worship like me, vote like me. You have got to give yourself permission to discover who you are and live your life authentically on your terms. You deserve to be you because life is short. So if you ever think, well, train up a child, well, you train up a child to tell the truth, do the right thing, don't harm other people, work hard, be someone who brings benefit to the species. But that doesn't mean train up a child so that they are an echo of somebody else's voice. You get to be you at the volume that you choose. Give yourself permission to do that. Okay.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. I was just pointing out that verse because it's like it speaks to kind of what we were talking about. Just how once you hear something or you're taught something growing up, it becomes hard to break out of that, for better or worse. In my opinion, but my parents might disagree.
Anyway. I didn't come out as queer until literally I think I'm coming up on 3 years now. So clearly my religious indoctrination lasted well past because there's still something about me, maybe just out of convenience, that wanted to deny that part of my identity for a good 7 years after leaving religion. I think those numbers are about right, but I'm bad at keeping track of that kind of stuff. So it definitely gets better. And I think probably at 26, I would have been like, oh, well, I'm already past it all and there's nothing left in there. And then a year later, I would have come out as queer and realized, oh, no, there's apparently still some stuff in there. So it's also hard to assess whether, like now at 30, I feel like that upbringing no longer has any hold on me. But I don't know what major revelation I'll have next year, for example, that makes me realize I still hadn't gotten out of it yet completely.
Yeah, it's a process.
Well, thank you,
at the very
Ashley.
beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Thank you guys.
Thank you very much.
No, I was just. Yeah.
Great.
All right.
Well, good luck to you. Let's see you.
All right. Thank you.
Hey, thanks for checking out this clip for The Line. While you're here, hit that like button, hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and then share this with that bitter uncle of yours who loves talking about the good old days.